Hello students, welcome all. In this video, we'll be discussing about the freebies and the politics surrounding of it. You all know that recently Supreme Court has said that there is a need to relook at the ways freebies are being given in the country, and it has suggested to constitute a separate committee. So in that context, let's see what exactly is the issue and the implications of freebies, whether freebies are good or not. All will be covered in this video. Let's start. So what is freebie culture? So you all know that political parties, to garner votes, they say they offer different promises like free laptops, free electricity, stipend, monthly allowances. All these generally are categorized into what we say as freebies. See, subsidies are also included as freebies according to this definition. Now, recently, the Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi, has said that it's time to stop this practice and called it as the revenue culture. He called it as revenue culture because it's hurting the country's development and economy. Now, is it really hurting? Let's see. So, what are the issues? First, major, generally it is cited as macroeconomically unstable because it is impacting state's physical situation. See, out of total subsidies given to public of India, around 30% is given by, according to Indian Center for Development Studies, 30% is given by union government and remaining 70% are distributed by the concerned states. So it is directly impacting state's physical situation, which was highlighted by RBI's report on state finances. For example, it said that debt to GDP ratio of Punjab has reached unsustainable level of 53% in 21-22. So similarly, it is impacting both revenue side and expenditure side of states. For example, cost of servicing debt. Now, Andhra Pradesh is spending nearly 13% of its budget just to repay the old debt on interest payments. And it is negatively impacting state-owned enterprise because example is discom debt. According to ICRA study, around 16% of total discom debt is owned by the state. It means that states offer free electricity, but they don't pay that concerned bill to the discoms, and they are delaying the payments. Because of this, discoms are incurring huge losses, and it is negatively impacting the other industries. I mean, growth of the state or growth of the country. Okay. Next, these are not outcome oriented, so lack of specific outcome targets. For example, in 1987-88, the total volume of subsidies were 13% of GDP. In 2015, it has come down to 10%. Just in 3 decades, mere 3% reduction in subsidies. And whether it has proportionately resulted in any significant reduction in poverty or other, there is no data whether the outcomes have been achieved in spite of spending such huge amount of freebies. Next, low tax collections. Due to free electricity, free water, free rights, there is no real state is losing tax. You know that tax to GDP ratio of India is very less. It is less than 20%. Next, cross subsidization is impacting economic growth. Cross subsidization in the sense, for example, you're giving free electricity to MSMEs, agriculture. On the other hand, you are charging higher tariffs to other industries. So it is impacting the economic growth. Next, foregone revenues in the context of tax concessions. It is about 1.9 to 2.5 in 2019 and 2018 and 2019. So because of providing such free tax benefits, this much amount of tax has been foregone. Next, vote. See, for garnering votes, it is affecting free and fair election process. Vote bank politics. Just to gain some votes, the parties have been offering freebies without analyzing the impact of such freebies on the state finances. So it is going against the principle of free and fair election. Next, negative externalities. No choice for the receiver. So he's not having any choice. So there is no agency on the part of receiver, which has been said by the Economic Survey 2017 has highlighted in the context of universal basic income. It said that the agency is very important aspect. In this case, there is no choice for the receiver. He just has to take whatever the government offers. Negative externalities, because productivity is negatively impacting and it is impacting the other fields. For example, there was one major issue with respect to Manrega or criticism that is generally cited is because of Manrega, the supply of labor for agriculture, especially in the peak seasons, is negatively impacting because such supply of labor is not getting sufficiently available, and it is impacting the production, agriculture production, and the cost of hiring labor has increased very much. This is one of the criticism in the case of Manrega. Next, it creates a never-ending cycle of freebies. See, once you offer a freebie, government can never come out of it. That government can never take back such freebie because of fear of losing votes. Next, a step away from environment. Because once you offer freebies, for example, say free electricity to agriculture. Now that since it is a free, now pumps are kept on in spite of not being necessary. Also, pumps are kept on, so it is negatively impact on that groundwater table is getting negatively impacted. Similarly, electricity, the cost of production of electricity. You know that about 60% of electricity is based on thermal power plants. So this is also getting negatively impacted. On the one hand, we have given promises in the form of INDCs, and that will promote the sustainable power, renewable energy. But RBI report has pointed that in Punjab, the free power promised undercuts its ability to move to sustainable pattern of growth. This has been highlighted by RBI. So these are some of the concerns with respect to freebies. Next, similarly, it also impacts social inequalities. For example, Rajasthan government has said that it will revert to old pension system. It means that the employees, they need not contribute for the pension scheme. Total contribution will be made by the government. So just 6% of population of the state is capturing 56% of the salary expenditure. See, social inequalities. Similarly, in the case of Telangana, there was a scheme called as Raitu Bandhu scheme. There is a scheme where one of the criticism is the benefits of the scheme are not reaching the target audience. The most of the beneficiaries are the big farmers who has huge tracts of land. And social impact, it discriminates against honest taxpayer, and it creates divisions, honesty and jealousy, because they feel that their money is being not productively spent. Now, are freebies really bad? Let's see. First, not all freebies are really bad. You know that it helps to tackle poverty. For example, public distribution system, especially in the case of recent corona cases, this Manrega public distribution system, they were significantly helpful. And you all know that the poverty has been drastically declined in the last 1 or 2 decades because of this. One of the major reasons is PDS. Similarly, World Bank has appreciated the Manrega scheme as one of the revolutionary scheme to bring people out of poverty. Next, state's responsibility. Constitutional obligation is there on state because Article 39 says that state has to provide right to adequate means of livelihood, and the ownership and control of material resources shall be organized to serve the common good and prevents concentration of wealth. Similarly, Article 41 says that right to work and public assistance in case of unemployment, old age, sickness. This has been promised in the DPSPs. So it's a state responsibility. Similarly, Article 47 to raise the level of nutrition and standard of living of people and to improve public health. So there is a state obligation or responsibility. Next, it helps the lesser developed states, those who can't improve their own finances because of their geographical or environmental conditions. Freebies help those states. For example, special category states. Those states have certain geographical limitations because beyond a point where they can't generate more resources. So in such a context, freebies are necessary. Next, it meets social objectives of equality and equity. You know that Oxfam report time and again has highlighted that top 1% owns more than 50% of country's wealth, and top 10% about 70 to 80% of country's wealth they own. So in that context, freebies are very much freebies in the sense subsidies are very much important to ensure the equity and equality. Next, it boosts local industries. For example, Mudra scheme. Now, interest-free concession loans are given here to MSMEs. So to turn them into entrepreneurs and to boost the economy. So in such a context, subsidies are valid. Next, reduction in social tensions. You know that once there are the distinction between haves and have-nots is very much, obviously it will lead to social tensions. So to overcome, now India is often said that it's an island of prosperity. So to reduce such social tensions, you need to have some subsidies. Next, freebies to rich is another criticism is freebies to rich is more than poor. For example, you know that loans written off, they run into lakhs of crores. These, when compared to that subsidies given to poor, they are very much less. This is what the advocates of subsidies says. So not all freebies are bad. Some freebies are bad. Not all freebies are bad. So what should be the way forward? As suggested by Supreme Court, now Finance Commission has to look comprehensively into the issues of freebies and suggest various mechanisms. Next, strengthening election commission. For example, model code of conduct. You all know that it does not have any statutory basis. Give statutory basis to model code of conduct, because there is a provision within the model code of conduct saying that for parties making promises, they need also to show from how will they keep that promises, where will the finances, they will acquire the finances to keep that promises. So once you make model code of conduct as a statute, give statutory basis to it, you can hold political parties accountable. Next, differentiate between subsidies and freebies. Now, economists like Sri Rangarajan has pointed out that government should focus on what he calls as merit subsidies, such as improving education, health, PDS system, and removing all those subsidies that are not based on merit. Next, improve transparency, like use DBT or universal basic income as suggested by economic surveys time and again. Instead of going a farm loan waiver, use such technology-oriented schemes. This improves transparency, and also the honest taxpayers would not be penalized. Next, revise the FRBM Act, because FRBM Act was drafted in 2003, though there were certain amendments subsequently. Now there is a time to revise it and incorporate the accountability and transparency aspect in it. Next, outcome-based budgeting needs to be promoted. Next, educating the public on effects of such freebies and needs for physical discipline. Otherwise, such fiscal profligacy is not suggested. So physical discipline should be the way forward. Through citizen groups or NGOs, all such groups, they can be taken part of this educating the public about the danger of this freebies culture. So you need to differentiate between merit subsidies and the freebies that are not that drain the state public exchequer. So this should be the way forward. And as a conclusion, you can write the statement of Sri Rangarajanji or N.K. Singh, who has said that the freebies in the present form are disastrous for the economy. As a way forward, government should focus only on the merit-based subsidies. That you can write as conclusion. Thank you, guys.